Who said the road to the postseason was going to be smooth sailing? This is Atlanta, and we know that no route on these roads goes off without a pothole or two. No, the Braves bid for the top seed in the NL and potential home field advantage throughout the postseason isn't the sure thing that it once seemed. But you know what is, Grant McAuley? Ronald Acuña Jr., who, like his home run bashing teammate Matt Olson, is adding some more history to an historic 2023 season as he's about to join yet another elite club.
Yeah, knocking on the door. The journey almost complete to the 40-40 and beyond club. I think that's what I'm going to call it now because there's no 40-50, 40-60, maybe 40-70 club. I'm just going to say he could be the first man ever to do those things, but only 5 men in baseball history have been 40-40 club members. And Ronald, with one more home run, could find himself there as soon as this series against Washington.
Yeah, Bed Bath and Beyond's bankrupt, so you're allowed to have, you can have Beyond on whatever you want to now. So
there we go.
And we start there with Acuna, as you mentioned, one home run shy from becoming the 5th member of the 40-40 club. Of course, Jose Canseco did it in 1988, Barry Bonds in 96, Alex Rodriguez in 1998, and Alfonso Soriano in 2006. He's also vying to be the only player in AL/NL history to have a 40-homer, 60-steal season by virtue of swiping 67 bags and counting. He could obviously then also be the force to 40 and 70. Grant, I want to take you back to spring training of 2018, and we all stood in the dugout at Disney's Wide World of Sports, listening to Chipper Jones, who knows a thing or two about expectations, as he said, he's as good a prospect as I've seen. Now, living up to the hype, I mean, we know it's so wildly difficult, but as Acuna sets on the verge of mere history within this historic season, it's hard to argue that he hasn't taken every idea that we had about what he'd become and surpassed it.
Yeah, he definitely has. I mean, there's just no way to forecast that a player could be this dominant, even as a 5-tool prospect with the ability to affect the game in so many ways. How many guys are able to put that all together? But Ronald Acuña Jr., he's doing that. And he's done that over the course of his career. Now, obviously, he had to take a little bit of a journey of self-discovery maybe and going through that knee injury. But I think what he has found is he loves playing the game of baseball. He is very happy to be healthy. And when he is healthy, he can be a tour de force. And that is exactly what Ronald Acuña Jr. has been from day one of the 2023 season on. It's been incredible. You know, I've been keeping that 40-40 counter.
Yep.
So I've been kind of looking forward to and expecting great things from Ronald Acuña Jr. But every time I turn around, there's just like another little historical thing that he's done, either in the franchise's history or that he's doing in MLB history that's just downright impressive. How about the first 200 hit season or the most hits by a Braves player since 1996? Very few 200 hit seasons since 1966 when the club moved to Atlanta. He is now on that very short list. But I went back through this one. In 1976, Joe Morgan had a season in which he won the MVP, no less, with 100 runs batted in and 60-plus stolen bases. Ronald Acuña Jr. is the first man since Joe Morgan to do that, and that is a very short list of, I believe, only 16 players in big league history that have done that thing. So it's an incredible deal to look at with Ronald. I mean, I think it's happened 5 times since 1900, that 100 RBI, 60 stolen base thing, twice by Ty Cobb. I mean, the names are ridiculous, but Ronald doesn't get caught up in the names. He doesn't get caught up in the history of it all. He is literally just trying to go out there, play the game that he loves at the level that he can play it. And we are all the beneficiaries of being able to crunch these numbers and see him doing absolutely incredible things. We've talked a lot about this MVP, and then I'll throw it back to you. But this 100 RBI on the leadoff spot thing that Mookie Betts did, a week and a half ago? Ronald Acuña Jr. is there now. Now there's 4 men that have done it at the leadoff spot. So I feel like it's turned into a game of anything you can do, I can also do, or I can do better in this MVP race. And I don't know that it's possible to do it better than Ronald Acuña Jr. is doing all of it in 2023.
Yeah, he's not going to get caught up in the names or the history, but we are going to. And so think about this. In his first full season in the majors, he becomes the youngest player ever with 40 homers, 30 steals, was 3 steals shy of becoming the youngest 40-40 player. So to date, he's been in uniform for 2 full 162 game seasons. When you think about arriving 22 games into 2018, obviously there was the pandemic, shortened 2020, played in 119 last year because of the knee injury. So in those 2 full seasons, he's missed 40-40 and is going to need something catastrophic or just completely forget how to hit for the next 2 weeks to not do it this time. So there's only been one player who's ever had multiple seasons with at least 40 homers and 37 steals, and that's Barry Bonds.
Yep.
Did it in 1996 and 1997. So that's the company that he's about to keep beyond the 40-40, 40-70, or whatever this year ends up looking like. I don't want to get caught up in hyperbole here, but I think we know it's an excruciatingly short list of guys in all sports who come in with a sincere level of hype. Just this sense of this is a can't miss player. and end up blowing those expectations away. I mean, I think you could probably close your eyes and just come think of 1-2 guys across all sports that have done this. And again, I don't want to get caught up in the hyperbole, but we're literally seeing this happen before our eyes.
I mean, in baseball, we're talking about what? I mean, King Griffey Jr., I guess recently Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani certainly came over with a lot of expectations, but he's in a different category. You want to go back a little bit further, I'm sure we could make a case for Mickey Mantle with the New York Yankees. You know, they gave him the whole uniform number 6 thing. There was a lot of, heritage and history in those uniform numbers and in those pinstripes. And Mickey was able to become a pretty good baseball player, even if he wasn't the next Joe DiMaggio. But be that as it may, Ronald Acuña Jr., I think, is becoming the first of the style of player that he is at the level that he's doing it. And if you need the validation of that, creating a category in which no one in baseball history has done. And I'm not going to buy into only bigger bases and fewer engagements is allowing him to steal these bases. I think that he could do it. I think the game changed a lot. And I think that while stolen base numbers are up, what's everybody else across baseball doing? Why is nobody else getting in on this front? So I'm just telling you, he's an all-world talented player, and he's decided he's going to go do a thing, and you got to respect him going out there and doing it at the level in which he is. It's just absolutely incredible. And yeah, I think at 25 years old, maybe the best is yet to come, but it is going to be awfully hard for Ronald Acuña Jr. to come up with encore after encore to what he has done in 2023, but I'm sure he'll go out there and give it the old college try.
Well, he added 2 more homers against the Phillies on his way to continuing that pursuit of 40-40. The Braves did drop Wednesday's series finale. They've put their bid for home field advantage in the NL and throughout the postseason in jeopardy. They've obviously clinched a first-round bye and have home field in the NLDS. They're currently the NL's top seed, but 5 losses in the last 6 games. They're just 2 games ahead of the Orioles for the game's overall best record, which determines home field throughout the World Series. Their lead against the Dodgers is within a series in itself now. It seemed like a lock a week ago, Grant, when the lead against the Dodgers was 7.5 games. Certainly, Braves country felt a lot better about the lead over the Baltimore. I mean, it was 5 games a week ago. What's the confidence level of, one, the Braves claiming the NL's top spot, and secondly, entering the regular season with the game's overall best record?
I mean, I think that you have to still be pretty confident because this is a club that's done it time and again. And yes, they have had some lulls and some losing streaks and dropped some series. I mean, they had a chance to take 2 out of 3 from the Phillies. It didn't go their way in the 9th inning on just, tip of the cap. Great throw by Nick Castellanos. Maybe a better slide gets Luke Williams across the plate. And we're talking about this entirely differently than we are, but that's baseball. Sometimes it's just a pitch away or a play away from your team having to discuss a loss or talk about a series that you're winning and then moving on to the next one. And that, I think, is October in a nutshell. But I don't think there's any reason to, hit the panic button, but you want to see the club start to play, I think, a more consistent brand of baseball. That means a little more consistency out of the bullpen, a little more consistency out of the rotation. They're able to get Max Fried back after having to skip a start with worry of a blister issue. I know we'll talk about that a little bit more later, but that's kind of a sigh of relief for this club. And how about the return of Jesse Chavez? I mean, if you're looking for guys that can come in and help you out at certain times, and a guy who's done it all year for the Braves, or at least up until the point that he got hurt, or done it as well as anybody has out of that bullpen, nice to be adding him at this time. But again, consistency, continuity, whatever you want to call it, just a better brand of baseball than they played over this past few days. The Miami series was a bad one. The Phillies one was a winnable series. And I think as the Braves move into Washington, they'll look to get themselves back on track against a club that is not fighting for a wild card like either of their last 2 opponents are, and is pretty much just trying to wrap up the regular season and prepare for the winter and whatever comes next in 2024. The Braves have further to go, but they need to start racking up some wins and getting themselves back on the track that they want to be on as they head towards October.
Yeah, you mentioned the Nationals, and certainly they're going to benefit from playing 7 of their last 10 games against the last place Nationals. I don't know that they exactly set the tone well for the bullpen, though, with Bryce Elder just lasting 3 2/3 innings in Wednesday's loss. But we'll get to that later. But the Dodgers have 7 of their last 10 against the Giants, who remain still in the hunt for a wild card spot. 4 versus the lowly Rockies in between those sets against San Francisco. The Orioles, meanwhile, their slate is comprised of 4 versus the Guardians, 2 against the Nationals, and they wrap up with 4 against the Red Sox. The Braves' 3 games against the Cubs in between those National series, I mean, those are feeling bigger and bigger by the moment. And technically, when you go off of remaining opponents' winning percentage, the Braves slate just slightly more difficult than the Dodgers. The Orioles, meanwhile, are 22nd in remaining opponent winning percentage. The Braves They're 24th, the Dodgers 27th. But remember, the Braves won the regular season series against the Dodgers, so that's still in their favor, meaning if they finish with equal records, the top seed is still going to go to the Braves.
Yeah, and those things are all important, and clearly you want to, finish with that best record, and you can erase all doubt, and the Braves are still in a place where they control their own destiny, so to speak, to use that old sports cliche that everybody likes to throw out there, because when it's true, it's really nice. When you have no control over it, you feel a little bit helpless. But there's not really a lot, I don't feel like, separating the remaining schedules whatsoever between those three teams. That Cubs series, I think, is going to be as much or more important for the Cubs if they want to hold on to their spot in the wild card, because it has been a very wonky month of September for them. That's going to be an interesting matchup. Of course, Dansby Swanson's first trip back to Truist Park. That's a little Braves headline to look at if people are still into that sort of thing. And I don't know. I'm sure there's somebody out there that is. But, playing the Washington Nationals for a majority of your final 10 games, that I think is a blessing for the Braves. And they're going to have to take, I think, full advantage of that opportunity to go ahead and pad that win record, get it up over 100 and add on as many as you can, because the Dodgers have been hot lately. The Orioles have been doing it all year long. There's no reason to believe there's going to be any slippage from them. They appear to be the class of the American League, at least at the moment. And that's a very fascinating story in and of itself to talk about when you flash back to spring training. Who had the Baltimore Orioles here at the end fighting for baseball's best record? That's how unpredictable this game is.
So let's dive into this series against the Nationals. From a pitching standpoint, at least on paper and with the names they're throwing out there, it's hard to argue that things couldn't line up better for the Braves. They've got Max Fried on Thursday, followed by Charlie Morton on Friday, Kyle Wright on Saturday, and Spencer Strider, who's on the cusp of modern-day Braves history, gets the ball on Sunday. I'd say that Fried's index finger is a point of emphasis, but as you mentioned, he missed a start to prevent a blister, reported his bullpen session on Monday, went off without a hitch. I'd say Wright's a focus, but as we keyed in on him last episode, and I think, that was obviously ahead of him allowing 4 runs on 5 hits in 4 innings, but the wait still continues for the first quality start from him. I'd say let's focus on Morton, who needs a rebound after allowing a combined 10 earned runs in his last 2 outings. Those are all key plot points, especially with the Braves trying to, again, secure that postseason seeding. But with 7 strikeouts separating Spencer Strider from breaking John Smoltz franchise record, Grant, that Sunday start, that's going to be appointment television.
Yeah, it should be one of the highlights you would hope of that series, is watching Spencer Strider go out there, pile up some strikeouts, and hopefully for the Braves, they can pile up some runs the way that they have more times than not when he's been on the mound this year. He has been a guy that you've been able to look to for, a very high winning percentage for the Braves on days that he pitches. But I think a sigh of relief about Max Fried and not having a blister, a very ill-timed window for any kind of injury that could cause you to miss multiple starts or land you on the IL. That's not anything that the Braves want to be thinking about, particularly as you flash back to a year ago and not having a full speed Max Fried in your rotation. He was under the weather. Spencer Strider was coming off an injury. I think as much as anything, yes, you need Charlie Morton to figure it out. You'd like to see Bryce Elder show you some more consistency. He's been really up and down, between alternating, it feels like, between a good start and a bad start. And it's been a little bit Jekyll and Hyde for him, but what can you get out of Kyle Wright? Even if not a starter, is he somebody that you could count on to get you 5 or 6 outs if you need that? And, heading into the division series with a bullpen that has some question marks, there could be a point to look at there. So there's some things for the Braves, I think, to size up over this final 10 games, but they would like to win some of these baseball games. There's just no question. Start with winning a series against the Washington Nationals, moving through the weekend, and then, close things out at home and hopefully be celebrating the opportunity that you have to host some games and move forward in the division series, which they've already got the bye for the wild card. They've got the division series home field locked up, but I think that you want to have home field as much as you possibly can moving throughout the postseason. Any club that tells you they're just not really concerned about it, I don't know that I can believe that. Now, lots of guys are happy to be there, but you'd be a lot happier with the seat that you want.
That's right. And the oddity of this balanced schedule, Strider has not seen the Nationals since his first start of the season when he fanned 9. So he can end up getting 2 cracks against him if he maintains his normal rest, obviously. But with 27 strikeouts and 19 career innings against the Nationals, I think he just gets it over with on Sunday. By the way, Matt Olson, who has already broken the Braves single season home run record, 52 now to surpass Andrew Jones, has 3 homers in 6 games against the Nationals this year. So I'd say a very strong bet that he adds to that record while they're in DC. Say this, though, suddenly there's more intrigue around these last 2 weeks of the season than it appeared that we were going to have. And as you know, we've got you covered every step of the way here on BPTV. So be sure that you subscribe, turn notifications, and tell a friend to help this community grow. Until next time, I'm Cory McCartney. He's Grant McAuley, and we'll see you soon, Braves Country.